24 hours as this system just comes up the eastern seaboard. At the same time, we have this weak cloud coming across with the front through Quebec, and again, that'll all plague us over the weekend, keeping us under cloud cover and scattered showers here and there. So forecast-wise then for tonight, I'm going to mention frost first of all in the Cape Breton area. Skies should remain clear there and nippy, but the cloud coming in, a few scattered showers, and there you can see the overnight lows. I hope one of those is close to where you live. Now, going into the weekend itself for Saturday, the clouds will thicken up more and more as the day progresses, and the showers just spread across the Maritimes pretty well, with the heaviest showers across Nova Scotia, or a greater probability, I should say, and temperatures close to seasonal values as well. So looking at the long-range forecast as we wind up the weekend itself for Saturday, or I should say for Sunday, the showers starting off through the day and then gradually getting out, sunshine coming back, high 18, and for Monday and Tuesday, a great change in the weather. Chilly Arctic Express coming our way. Very cool, brisk northerly winds for the day Monday, and look at these daytime highs, 15 to 16 for Monday and Tuesday, albeit fair weather. And that wraps up the weather. Back to you people.
Well, as Phil said, this is the last weekend in the summer of '93, and I hate to say it, but it's time to get ready for flu season. Winter is still a few months away, that's the good news, but now is the time to get that flu shot. For the past couple of years, medical experts have said that the winter of '93-'94 will be a bad one for flu bugs. ATV's Alex Vaz joins us in Moncton. Alex, should people be worried about getting the flu this year?
Nancy, that's really hard to say. The flu does run in cycles. Some years, some winters, you think, geez, a lot of people I know have the flu. But it's a hard thing to predict, and some of the people I talked with today say it's about the farthest thing from their minds. Do you take any special precautions to try and avoid catching the flu?
No, I don't. I used to take medication for it, but I don't anymore. So.
Right.
I'm not worried about the flu. I hope to get away from it.
Yeah. Take any special precautions? Do you?
Go down south.
I rarely ever get it, so I'm not really terribly concerned.
Dr. Robert Forbes says some people must start thinking about the flu season now.
Over the 2 weeks, have you found any improvement, or are you getting worse?
Now is the time to start thinking about preventing the flu. Those people with cardiac and lung problems, along with the elderly, a flu shot is very important.
These people, if they were to get the flu, they're at particular risk of having complications, which can be very serious.
The flu is caused by a virus, so you really can't take anything to stop catching the bug until your body develops an immunity to that particular virus. Not everyone is affected by the flu in the same manner. Some will have to go see a doctor. Others will just have to make a trip here to the drugstore, and that's enough to beat the flu bug.
Garden variety flu in an otherwise healthy person doesn't necessarily need the doctor's attention, and over-the-counter medications treating the symptoms as adequate treatment for the problem.
Drugstores recognize right away when the flu season hits. Pharmacists find they are filling more prescriptions and also offering more advice.
Literally, you could see up to 25% more people looking for, symptomatic relief or prescriptions or both. So it can be pretty noticeable when that season hits.
And pharmacist Bruce Duncan says from experience, he says the flu bug usually will go around a community not once, but twice. Paul?
All right, thank you, Alex. That's Alex Vaz reporting live from Moncton. Certainly, those people involved in the election campaign don't want to even talk about the flu. They can't afford to get sick. It's about 1 month and 1 week away now from the federal election, and joining us live from the nation's capital to talk about all of it in the campaign, Mike Duffy. Mike, let's start with the Tories.
Where do you want to begin?
Yeah, where do we begin?
Heads or tails, yes. Fascinating to see Kim Campbell on the attack against the Bloc and then under counterattack from the Bloc in the province of Quebec. The Globe and Mail has done this study which transposes their public opinion poll this week that shows the two main parties tied neck and neck onto ridings. And some of our political junkie pals will want to get out their pens because the numbers are fascinating, in some ways scary, Paul. What it shows is if that Globe and Mail survey were a federal election today, the Conservatives would win 111 seats, the Liberals 110, the Bloc 61, Reform 8, and NDP 5.
Wow.
It reminds me of 1972 when Bob McLeave from Halifax West, now a judge, Your Honor,
sure.
In fact was sort of the balance of power person in the Bob Stanfield almost knocking off Pierre Trudeau 1 seat apart, and Bob McLeave got to be the deputy speaker during that time. So here it is, the Bloc Québécois with 61 seats, they would be in the driver's seat.
Sure would.
And it sure explains, I think, why Robert Bourassa decided to quit now. Somebody told me once the Quebecers are so conservative they like to wear both suspenders and a belt. This is a political analogy to say they want to be covered on both ends in Quebec City and here in Ottawa. And if you were going to send 61 blockheads to Ottawa, you'd want stability back home because these people are dedicated to the breakup of Canada. Now with Bourassa out of there, I suspect what his action was trying to do was convince Quebecers that, hold on here, we better vote for a Federalist Party in the federal election because next year we would like to put in the PQ because the PQ is ahead in the polls in Quebec.
No question about it, Mike, that we're looking at a fascinating election developing here, and a lot of people have been talking about a splintered parliament. Speaking of splinters, I'm sure Kim Campbell was pulling them out after Jean Chrétien's attack today. Of course, she gave him a little bit of ammunition.
Well, this is one of these cases where you know, they're starting to get desperate. They have to break out of the pack. I think the next big event, frankly, will be the debate, but we're still some way to go before the debate, and so we're in this phony war period where each side is pressing the other. I managed to get my hands on some private Tory party numbers, and I said, what are you finding deficit, cutting government spending versus unemployment and jobs? And they say there is no question. Chrétien is right. Jobs is the #1 issue. 54% to 21% who think it should be the deficit. But, they say, the important difference in their private tracking polls is that 78% believe that those jobs should be created by the private sector, and only 19% believe it should be created by government. So that explains some of the tactic that she's been taking in terms of saying, we'll lay out a plan or create the atmosphere, but it must be the private sector that does it. Anyway, we'll have her on Sunday edition here on ATV at 1 o'clock on Sunday, and